Hello everyone. In the last video we have talked about the simple if statement, and in this video we'll talk about the if-else statement. So in the if-else statement, the statement will be processed based on the given condition, and if the condition becomes true, then this block we have to process, and if the condition becomes false, then the second statement will be processed. So whatever the statement we will write after the condition, that will be processed only when the condition becomes true, and if the condition becomes false, then whatever the statement we will write after the else statement will be processed. So let's see with one example. If we have taken here the x is equals to 10 and write here the x modulus 2 is equals to 0, and if it is true, then we have to print even, and if it is false, then go to the else part and print odd, because we know that if the number is divisible by 2, then it is even, and once the number is even, then at the same time it will never be odd. So either we have to print the first block or second block, right? So this time the x modulus 2 equals to 0 is true, so it will print even. Now execute it, and we have got the answer. And if we will change here to suppose 13, then 13 modulus 2 equals to 0 is false, so condition becomes false, then it will print odd, right? So we have got the answer. Clear? But before that, we have used the simple if statement, and using simple if statement we can also solve the same problem. So let's check the simple if statement and why we will use the if-else statement. So if x modulus 2 equals to 0 we have already checked here. Now we have to check here the x modulus 2 is not equals to 0, and if it is not equals to 0, then we have to print here odd. Okay, so we will get the same result, that it is odd. First of all, it have to check the first condition, and if the condition becomes false, then this block will be ignored, right? Then it will check the second condition, and if the second condition will be true, then this block will be processed, otherwise this block will be ignored. But if I will take here the 20 in place of 13, then what will happen? The 20 modulus 2 equals to 0, then the condition is true, and this statement will be processed. After processing of this statement, the block will not be terminated, because it will move forward and again it will check the second condition. But here it is unnecessary to check the condition, because we know that once the number is even, then at the same time it will never be odd, even that they are checking the condition. So almost we are just wasting our 50% of the time. To save this time, we are using the else statement. So if I write here the else, then obviously this second block will never be checked if the first block is true, right? So here we have to write here the odd, and if the condition becomes true, then only this block will be processed and the rest of the block will be ignored, right? And if the condition becomes false, then this block will be ignored and automatically this block will be processed. So we are saving the 50% of the time, right? And it improves the performance 50%, right? So we have to check here the answer. It is even. Now check the second example. And the question is that we have to find the maximum from the two numbers, and that number we have to take from the keyboard. So suppose we have taken here the number 1, and number 1 we have to take from the keyboard. So write down the input, and here we have to write down the enter first number, right? And again the second number we have to take from the keyboard. So again we have to write here the second number. So copy and paste, and in place of first we have to write here the second. Now we have to find that whether the number 1 is greater than number 2 or number 2 is greater than number 1. So simply we have to check here, the number 1 is greater than number 2, then the maximum will be number 1, right? So we have to write here the maximum is number 1. And if the number 1 is not greater than number 2, then obviously the number 2 will be maximum. So otherwise we have to print here the maximum is number 2. Alright, so let's execute the program. And we have given here the 12 and the second number is 67, then it will print the maximum is 67, right? So number 1 was 12 and the number 2 was 67. So first of all it will check the condition that 12 is greater than 67 is false, so automatically this line will be ignored and jump to this block and the number 2 will be printed. But if I will write here the first number as 90 and second number is 12, then the first number is 90, so 90 is greater than 12 is true, so it will print this block and this block will be ignored, right? So let's check here, the 90 is maximum. So based on this if and else, you can practice more questions to clear the concept. And if you like this video, then please subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon for the latest update. Thank you all.